So we're starting to show off with some news, not particularly good news. Donald Trump recognizes Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Essentially, anyone like myself who supported the idea of a two-state solution and a 1947-style border essentially just didn't know what to say other than, oh God, we lost. To think the U.S. is backing a country that, no joke, essentially commits theft. That and violates international law. Everything that Israel has done, that counts as a land settlement at least, violates international law. And even then, they're just stealing land. It's that simple. And while some may again say that there's no official Palestinian state, this essentially is supposed to... I ask one question. If there are some peopleless homes on my block, are they mine now? The answer is obviously no. Israel seems to think they are. As for what this means for relations in the Middle East, well, this is a +1 for relations with Israel, which are already through the roof. Relations with everyone else, though, of course the Middle East is not particularly a friend of Israel's. Well, okay, Israel's in the Middle East, but you know what I mean. Many Arab groups within the Middle East, many of them are extremists, I will say right now. I am not going to pretend that Hamas is nonviolent, or that many of the resistance groups in Palestine are nonviolent. I would, however, like to point out that they are typically just one or two lone gunmen, while Israel drops bombs that kill 90% innocents. Essentially, what we are doing is we are saying, you see this giant geographical area called the Middle East? Well, we're gonna just focus on this one spot of it. Hope maybe they steal enough land. Maybe someday they'll steal all of the Middle East. And that way we'll be friends with everyone in the Middle East, because there will only be one country. Oh, and when people start fighting back because their land was stolen, well, that's just terrorism. But when we steal the land, that's fine. Somehow. It's safe to say very few of the pro-Israel arguments make any kind of sense. Like, I once had somebody tell me that they started doing land settlements because the Arabs inside Israel started hating the idea of a Jewish state, which just doesn't make any sense. Okay, you see, you hate us, so we're gonna take your land. And therefore you'll like us? What? And don't get me wrong, there are several extremist groups in there that are disgusted at the idea of a Jewish state. However, I'd like to focus on that's in the small minority, and even then, that really just distracts from the conversation. Because this is the trick Israel does. They tell Palestine, and I guarantee you they're going to spread to the rest of the Middle East at some point, and start doing land settlements all over the place. Within a century, there may not even be a Middle East, it will just be one big Israel. But yeah, they go to Palestine, and they say, oh, you know, just create a peace deal. They create a peace deal. Israel slaps it down. Netanyahu slaps it down. Go to the UN. The UN is Israel's fight with the U.S. The U.S. can veto it, slap it down. And then, when violent resistance groups start, which I am against, mind you, I am not supporting violence, everyone goes, how could this happen? Things like this cause it to happen, as the U.S. is only strengthening its relationship with Israel. We are the world's biggest superpower, and we are using it to support a country that's entire existence is based on theft. That's really it. I'm Ephrom, and good night.